Wrestling fans know that WWE is a world full of larger-than-life personalities, incredible talent, and unforgettable moments. But behind the glitz and glamour, the journey isn't always smooth. Some of the industry's brightest stars have faced bans, suspensions, or been outright blacklisted by WWE, often due to controversies, personal struggles, or conflicts behind the scenes. These bans don't just cut careers short, they leave lasting impacts on the wrestlers' lives and legacies. What happens when the spotlight fades and the doors close? How do these wrestlers cope with the fallout, and where do they turn next? In this video, we'll take a compassionate look beyond the headlines, exploring the real stories of those banned from WWE, who they were, what led to their downfall, and how they're trying to rebuild or redefine themselves away from the biggest stage in wrestling. It's a reminder that behind every scandal is a human being, facing the consequences of choices made in and out of the ring. 1. Alberto Del Rio. From Mexican royalty to wrestling pariah. There was a time when Alberto Del Rio was considered the crown jewel of WWE's global ambitions. Born Jose Alberto Rodriguez Chucuan into one of Mexico's most prestigious wrestling dynasties, the Rodriguez family, his path seemed preordained. His family legacy, combined with his imposing physique, legitimate MMA experience, and flawless ring skills, made him a rare breed, a luchador who could seamlessly blend technical prowess with charisma and storytelling on a grand scale. Del Rio burst onto the WWE scene in 2010 with a swagger and confidence that quickly captivated fans worldwide. Within a remarkably short time, he achieved feats that many wrestlers spend years chasing, winning the Royal Rumble, cashing in the Money in the Bank contract, and capturing the WWE Championship multiple times. His aristocratic Mexican aristocrat persona, complete with the opulent entrance and regal gestures, gave WWE a product that was both unique and marketable globally. His matches were a fusion of high-flying lucha libre traditions and hard-hitting MMA strikes. This blend made him stand out not just in the ring, but as a viable main event superstar. It seemed Del Rio was poised to dominate WWE for years, embodying a perfect balance between heritage and innovation. But no rise is immune to a fall. In 2014, Del Rio's career faced a massive setback when he was abruptly released from WWE after an altercation with a backstage employee. Reports surfaced that the employee had made a racially insensitive comment, which prompted Del Rio to slap him in response. While many fans empathized with Del Rio's reaction, citing it as a defense of personal dignity, WWE management viewed the incident as unprofessional and disruptive, leading to his dismissal. In a twist of fate, WWE rehired Del Rio in 2015, seemingly offering a second chance. However, the magic was gone. Instead of headlining major events or featuring in high-profile storylines, he was relegated to less significant angles that failed to ignite his previous star power. Meanwhile, his personal life became increasingly tumultuous. Del Rio's relationship with fellow wrestler Paige became a media storm. The couple's private disputes spilled into the public eye through leaked videos showing heated arguments. Allegations of emotional abuse, control, and even physical altercation surfaced. Though Paige later withdrew some accusations, the damage to Del Rio's reputation was irrevocable. Fans and insiders alike began to distance themselves, and WWE released him a second time. 2. Ryback, the hungry beast that burned bridges. In the early 2000s, WWE was searching for its next unstoppable force. someone who could capture the imagination of fans with sheer power, presence, and intensity. Enter Ryback, a modern-day monster whose very name inspired chants of "Feed Me More" in arenas packed with adoring fans. With his chiseled physique, intimidating frame, and explosive power moves, Ryback seemed to embody the spirit of legendary wrestlers like Goldberg, dominant, relentless, and larger than life. WWE's brass saw huge potential in him, envisioning Ryback as their future world champion, a new icon who could carry the company through a new era. Ryback's initial push was meteoric. He quickly rose through the ranks with a fierce, aggressive style that thrilled crowds and made him a must-watch attraction. His character was simple but effective, a hungry beast hungry for destruction and glory. By 2012, he was knocking on the door of the main event scene, headlining pay-per-views and electrifying audiences worldwide. His opportunity to claim the WWE Championship at Hell in a Cell 2012 was seen as a defining moment, a chance to cement his legacy. The excitement was palpable. For a time, it felt like Ryback's star would only continue to rise, yet behind the scenes, cracks were beginning to form. Ryback has been open in recent years about the tensions that simmered between him and WWE management, particularly Vince McMahon. He spoke of promises made and then broken, of pushes that were suddenly pulled back at the last minute, and of a frustrating lack of clarity about his true standing in the company. The emotional toll was significant. The dream that had once seemed so close began to feel like an illusion. Instead of feeling like a rising star, Ryback found himself battling for respect and fairness. By 2016, those frustrations boiled over into a very public dispute. Rather than quietly negotiating behind closed doors like most wrestlers, Ryback took his grievances directly to fans via social media and podcasts. He criticized WWE's pay structure, arguing that despite his hard work, dedication, and fan support, he was paid far less than other stars with comparable or lesser contributions. His campaign struck a chord with many fans and fellow wrestlers, tapping into a growing awareness of the grueling nature of wrestling and the sometimes unfair treatment talent faces. However, what began as a passionate call for fairness soon spiraled into something more damaging. Ryback's tone grew sharper and more personal. He launched pointed criticisms at established WWE legends such as John Cena and Triple H, challenging their legacies and integrity, a move that alienated much of the wrestling community. The final blow came when Ryback made crude and deeply disrespectful remarks about Vince McMahon's late mother. That moment was widely condemned and marked a line even many supporters were unwilling to cross. The consequences were swift and severe. WWE completely distanced itself from Ryback, cutting off communication and opportunities. The company made it clear that bridges had been burned beyond repair. While Ryback has remained active in the wrestling world as a podcaster and social media figure, his days as a top-tier wrestler in WWE are effectively over. No credible talks of a return have surfaced, and insiders consider his relationship with WWE irreparably damaged. 3. Sable, the Attitude Era. Icon erased from history. During WWE's revolutionary Attitude Era, Sable burst onto the scene as one of the most captivating and influential female superstars in wrestling history. With her stunning looks, undeniable charisma, and fearless attitude, she quickly became a fan favorite and a major television draw. She initially arrived alongside her real-life husband, Mark Marrow, but it soon became clear that Sable's star would outshine his. She wasn't just another female wrestler. She was a cultural phenomenon who transcended wrestling itself. Her appearance on the cover of Playboy magazine cemented her status as an icon, perfectly capturing the edgy, rebellious energy that defined WWE in the late 1990s. Whether through flirtatious promos or fierce in-ring battles, Sable had a rare ability to connect with audiences and hold their attention. Yet behind the glitz and glamour, Sable's reality was far more complicated. At the peak of her stardom in 1999, she shocked the wrestling world by walking away from WWE and filing a massive $110 million lawsuit against the company. Her accusations were serious. She claimed WWE fostered an environment of sexual harassment and discrimination, and that female performers were subjected to a toxic, unsafe workplace. Her lawsuit peeled back the curtain on WWE's darker side during the Attitude Era, exposing systemic problems that had been swept under the rug for years. Although the case was eventually settled out of court, the damage was done. Sable's relationship with WWE was irreparably damaged, and her departure sent shockwaves through the industry. Despite the bitterness of the legal battle, Sable made a surprising return to WWE in 2003 during the Ruthless Aggression era. Now presenting a more mature and confident persona, she engaged in memorable feuds, particularly with Tori Wilson, and even formed an on-screen alliance with WWE Chairman Vince McMahon, reminding fans of her star power. However, this comeback was short-lived. By 2004, Sable quietly left WWE again, this time for good. Since her final departure, WWE has largely erased Sable from its official narrative. Despite her undeniable influence on women's wrestling and the broader wrestling culture, she remains absent from the WWE Hall of Fame and other major company honors. This omission became painfully clear in 2019 when Tori Wilson was inducted into the Hall of Fame, but was reportedly asked not to mention Sable during her speech, a glaring snub that left fans and insiders questioning WWE's motivations. Sable's story serves as a reminder that wrestling history is sometimes rewritten by those in power, and even those who helped shape the industry can be sidelined and forgotten. Though Sable's legacy remains overshadowed, her impact on the Attitude Era and women's wrestling is undeniable. She helped pave the way for future generations, breaking barriers and challenging norms during one of WWE's most iconic periods. Her story is not just about wrestling. It's about the cost of standing up against injustice in a business that often demands silence. 4. Enzo Amore, the charismatic star who burned out. Enzo Amore burst onto the WWE scene as one of the most electric and captivating personalities in recent memory. From the moment he grabbed the microphone, his razor-sharp wit and infectious confidence instantly won over crowds. Paired with his towering tag team partner Big Cass, Enzo became a fan favorite on both NXT and the main roster, delivering some of the most memorable promos and entertaining segments in WWE's modern era. His signature catchphrases like Certified G and the ever-popular "How you doin'" quickly became ingrained in wrestling culture, a testament to his natural ability to connect with audiences. Enzo wasn't just a wrestler. He was a true showman who injected humor and energy into every appearance, creating an unforgettable presence. However, behind the scenes, the picture wasn't so bright. While Enzo thrived in front of the camera, backstage he was often seen as a divisive figure. Stories of disrespectful behavior, crude jokes, and clashes with fellow wrestlers circulated regularly. One infamous moment that symbolized the growing tensions was when Roman Reigns, a powerful backstage leader, kicked Enzo off the wrestler's bus during a European tour, a clear sign that many peers had grown tired of his antics. Enzo's refusal to apologize or mend fences only deepened the divide, isolating him further within the locker room. The final turning point came in early 2018 when Enzo was publicly accused of sexual assault. WWE was blindsided, learning about the investigation just hours before a major televised event. In response, they immediately suspended Enzo and then swiftly released him after it was revealed he had not informed the company about the ongoing investigation. Though the case was later dismissed due to lack of evidence, the damage to Enzo's career was irreversible. His WWE chapter was closed. Rather than retreating quietly, Enzo stirred headlines by sneaking into Survivor Series 2018 disguised as a fan, causing a scene before security escorted him out. WWE responded by banning him not just as a performer, but even as a spectator, effectively severing all ties. Since then, Enzo has reinvented himself on the independent wrestling circuit as Real One and launched a rap career, showing resilience despite his fall from grace. Rumors of a reunion with Big Cass, now wrestling as W. Morrissey in AEW, occasionally surface, but a WWE comeback remains highly unlikely. Enzo Amore's story serves as a cautionary tale about how quickly charisma and popularity can fade when offering issues take center stage. 5. Tammy Lynn Sitch, Sunny, the original Diva's rise and fall. In the annals of WWE history, few figures shine as brightly and then fade as tragically as Tammy Lynn Sitch, better known to fans worldwide simply as Sunny. She wasn't just WWE's first diva. She was a trailblazer, a cultural icon whose influence extended far beyond the wrestling ring. At the height of the 1990s, during the explosive Attitude Era, Sunny was everywhere, from magazine covers to television screens, and even dominating early internet searches on AOL, an almost unheard of feat for a female wrestler at the time. Her sharp looks, natural charisma, and camera-friendly presence made her a star in an era when women wrestlers were still fighting for respect and screen time. Before the term diva became part of WWE's lexicon, Sunny was already setting the gold standard, not just as a performer, but as a brand. She was the living embodiment of sex appeal mixed with a fierce attitude, and fans couldn't get enough. Her segments drew massive ratings, and she was a key player in the WWE's most memorable moments of the late 90s. However, the glittering veneer of fame concealed a darker reality. After leaving WWE in 1998, Sunny's life quickly spiraled into chaos. Instead of capitalizing on her fame and forging a successful path forward, she succumbed to a cycle of temptation, poor decisions, and self-destructive behavior. Over the next 2 decades, Tammy's legal troubles mounted dramatically. Her record includes multiple arrests for DUI, assault, theft, and a disturbing pattern of probation violations. Each incident made headlines, shifting public perception of her from beloved wrestling personality to tabloid fixture. Despite this troubling trajectory, WWE inducted Sunny into the Hall of Fame in 2011, a move that ignited fierce backlash among fans and insiders alike. Many questioned the decision, arguing that her off-screen troubles overshadowed her professional contributions. Critics contended that honoring someone with such a deeply troubled personal history sent the wrong message to younger fans and wrestlers. The tragic climax of Sunny's downfall came in March 2022 when she was involved in a fatal car accident in Florida. The crash claimed the life of a 75-year-old man and left a community grieving. Tests revealed Tammy's blood alcohol level was more than 3 times the legal limit at the time of the accident. This horrifying event, coupled with her long history of legal problems, shattered whatever remaining goodwill existed. Public opinion swiftly turned from sympathy to condemnation. In November 2023, Tammy was sentenced to 17 years in prison for DUI manslaughter, followed by 8 years of probation upon her release. This sentence wasn't just a legal consequence, it was the final devastating blow to a once bright career. What started as a shining legacy in WWE's formative years had transformed into a cautionary tale about the high cost of losing control. 6. Patrick Clark Jr., Velveteen Dream, from NXT prodigy to controversy and silence. Patrick Clark Jr., better known by his ring name Velveteen Dream, was once hailed as one of WWE's brightest young stars and most unique talents. From the moment he burst onto the NXT scene, Clark captivated fans with his electrifying charisma, flamboyant style, and undeniable in-ring skill. Drawing inspiration from iconic artists like Prince, he created a character that was unlike anything WWE had seen in years. Flamboyant, enigmatic, and dripping with confident mystique. Velveteen Dream's entrances were nothing short of theatrical events, with elaborate lighting and bold ring gear that made him instantly recognizable. In 2019, his career reached a high point when he captured the NXT North American Championship, becoming one of the brand's marquee performers. Praises poured in from wrestling heavyweights, including John Cena, who called him the future of WWE. Fans eagerly awaited his rise to main event status, believing he was on the cusp of superstardom. However, the bright spotlight quickly faded. In 2020, serious allegations surfaced accusing Clark of sending inappropriate messages and explicit images to underage fans. The scandal sent shockwaves through the wrestling community and cast a dark shadow over Velveteen Dream's promising career. WWE conducted an internal investigation, but stated they found no conclusive evidence to take further action. Despite this, the damage was done. Without any public explanation, Clark quietly disappeared from NXT television. By May 2021, WWE officially released him, ending what many thought was a rising trajectory. Clark vehemently denied all allegations, but the stain on his reputation lingered, and many fans who once adored him grew skeptical. Business partners and promoters distanced themselves, unwilling to risk controversy despite his undeniable talent. Velveteen Dream struggles extended far beyond wrestling. After his WWE release, Clark faced multiple arrests for disorderly conduct, assault, and probation violations, which further complicated his efforts to rebuild both his personal life and wrestling career. Major wrestling promotions remained wary of associating with him, fearing backlash and damage to their own reputations. This left Clark isolated and struggling to find a clear path forward. In early 2024, Clark resurfaced publicly in a high-profile interview with Chris Van Vliet, breaking his silence on the darkest chapter of his life. In the interview, he firmly denied the allegations against him, claiming his WWE departure was more a result of internal politics and backstage conflicts rather than any misconduct. He expressed regret for the pain caused, offering a heartfelt apology to anyone affected and a sincere desire for a fresh start and redemption. Velveteen Dream's story is a complex and cautionary tale about the rise and fall of a gifted talent whose promising career was abruptly derailed by controversy. It highlights the fragile nature of fame in wrestling and the heavy toll that public allegations, whether proven or not, can have on a performer's life. For Patrick Clark Jr., the road ahead remains uncertain, but his story continues to spark conversations about accountability, redemption, and the challenges faced by young wrestlers navigating the unforgiving spotlight. 7. Tessa Blanchard, talent, triumph, and tumult in the spotlight. Tessa Blanchard entered the wrestling world carrying not only a famous name, but a fierce determination to forge her own legacy. As the daughter of WWE Hall of Famer Tully Blanchard, she was born into wrestling royalty, but Tessa's ambition stretched far beyond her lineage. Known for her hard-hitting, aggressive style and magnetic presence, she quickly rose as a trailblazer for women in the sport, challenging traditional boundaries. Her career reached a historic high point in 2020 when she became the first woman ever to claim the Impact Wrestling World Championship, a title long dominated by men. This groundbreaking achievement seemed to herald a new era, positioning her among wrestling's elite and inspiring countless fans. Yet just days before this crowning victory, Tessa's world began to unravel. Social media exploded with serious allegations from multiple female wrestlers accusing her of bullying and racism behind the scenes. Among the most shocking claims was an accusation that she spat on a black wrestler and used a racial slur during a tour in Japan. Tessa vehemently denied these accusations, but the growing chorus of voices painted a disturbing picture of hostility and disrespect backstage. These revelations tarnished her reputation, casting a shadow over her groundbreaking achievements. The turmoil culminated when Impact Wrestling stripped Tessa of her world championship and abruptly released her. Reports suggested that tensions had been mounting over her refusal to participate in remote filming during the COVID-19 pandemic, symbolizing a fractured relationship between the company and the star. Being fired while still champion was unprecedented and underscored the depth of the fallout. Following her exit, Tessa struggled to regain her footing. Major promotions in North America were reluctant to take a chance, wary of the controversy surrounding her. She had a brief stint with Women of Wrestling, but that too ended amid internal disputes. Eventually, Tessa turned to Mexico's Consejo Mundial de Lucha Libre, CMLL, where she took on a more subdued role, far from the spotlight she once commanded. In 2024, the wrestling world was stunned when TNA Wrestling, Impact's rebranded identity, offered her a second chance. The announcement sparked fierce debate among fans and insiders alike. Many criticized the decision, feeling Tessa had not fully addressed her past mistakes, while others hoped it might signal a path toward redemption. Regardless, Tessa Blanchard's story remains a powerful reminder of how talent and triumph can be overshadowed by personal turmoil and the challenges of accountability. 8. Austin Aries, talent overshadowed by ego and controversy. Austin Aries built a reputation as one of modern wrestling's premier technical performers. With major championships in ROH and TNA under his belt, he was a polished, skilled competitor capable of anchoring any promotion. Aries combined athleticism with sharp mic skills, making him a natural centerpiece for storylines and shows. When Aries joined WWE in 2016, he quickly impressed fans and critics alike in NXT and later on the 205 Live brand. His matches were widely praised, showcasing his ability to tell stories through his craft. However, backstage realities told a different story. Aries' growing ego created tension among colleagues and management alike. Many felt he believed he was being underutilized and expressed this through negativity and conflict. Rather than focusing on teamwork, Aries often prioritized personal grievances, making him difficult to work with. In 2017, Aries abruptly left WWE, officially cited as a voluntary departure, but insiders knew it was the culmination of long-standing creative disputes and strained relationships. Aries' 2018 return to Impact Wrestling was expected to mark a fresh start, but it ended in spectacular fashion at Bound for Glory, where after losing a title match, Aries blatantly no-sold the finishing move and walked out mid-show. This brazen disrespect shocked fans and professionals alike, seen as an unforgivable breach of trust. Adding to his troubles, during the rise of the speaking out movement, Aries was named in several disturbing accounts involving inappropriate behavior toward women. These allegations went beyond ego, touching on serious ethical and personal misconduct. Today, Austin Aries remains talented and capable in the ring, but major promotions have largely shut their doors to him. His career is a testament to the fact that while talent may open doors, attitude determines longevity. Aries' unchecked arrogance ultimately cost him everything he built. 9. David Benoit, wrestling's legacy. Burdened by tragedy. In the world of professional wrestling, a name often carries immense power, opening doors, commanding respect, and building legacies. For David Benoit, son of WWE legend Chris Benoit, that name has been more of a heavy burden than a blessing. Growing up, David was immersed in wrestling culture. His father was widely respected as one of the most technically gifted and passionate performers of his generation. David trained hard, guided by some of the biggest names in wrestling like Chavo Guerrero and Chris Jericho, determined to carry on the family tradition and carve out his own path in the industry. But everything changed in 2007. The wrestling world was rocked by one of the darkest tragedies in sports history when Chris Benoit took the lives of his wife and son before taking his own. The shockwave from that horrific event devastated fans and insiders alike. WWE responded swiftly and decisively, erasing Chris Benoit from their history. Matches were pulled from streaming services, references to his name disappeared, and his legacy was buried under the weight of the tragedy. For David, this was a cruel twist of fate. Innocent of any wrongdoing, he suddenly found himself haunted by a name that no longer represented wrestling greatness but pain and scandal. Major wrestling companies, including WWE and AEW, distanced themselves from the Benoit name. The stigma was too heavy, the potential backlash too risky. David's dreams of following in his father's footsteps were suddenly put on hold, not because of his own choices or character, but because of a shadow he never cast. At one point, David contemplated adopting the ring name Chris Benoit Jr. in an attempt to honor the positive legacy his father left behind, the skill, work ethic, and passion that had once defined the Benoit name. However, even that was considered too dangerous by promoters who feared the association would only reignite painful memories and controversy. Despite the enormous challenges, David has not given up. With the support of industry veterans like Chris Jericho, who recognize his talent and separate him from his father's tragedy, David continues to train relentlessly, holding on to hope that one day he will be judged on his own merit. His story is a poignant example of how sometimes in wrestling, The darkest shadows aren't ones you cast yourself, but they can still shape your entire future. Want daily knowledge drops? Subscribe now. Your brain will thank you later.